Hey, I get the mighty men of valor, the mighty men of valor. It's not too often I get surrounded by all of these men like this, but it's for good reason. And I've known this guy for quite a while. Honestly, when I first saw you, I thought you was like a bodybuilder or like a trainer of some sort. But I was like, no, not quite. Richard Gallion, man, I appreciate you. You know, they say triple threat. You're a quadruple threat. When you're like a writer, producer, director, actor, like you bring it all, and you're no novice at this world of acting. And so I congratulate you and thank you so much for joining me. And I'm excited about what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yep. So tell me about this.
Though?
What happened?
The bodybuilder? You thought I was
Come on, show your muscles. You got some. There it is.
I deflated actually.
Oh, you didn't inflate it? What?
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
All right. Well, tell us about your new production. When I saw the title, I was like, he's going to have to explain this. 1800s versus 2020. So what is the concept? How did you come up with this?
So it all started from a series that I'm writing called the What If series. And one of the what ifs questions were, what if the slaves from the 1800s were to have a conversation with us today? How would that conversation go to see how we're living, the things that they died for that we just simply take for granted? And if we're being honest, slavery, it still exists. It shifted from physical to mental. And now the other part of slavery is not about a culture, it's about a gender and an age, because this thing called human trafficking that no one is talking about. Mm-hmm. And no one is, I don't even know if people really taking it serious, but it is a real thing, especially with the Black women within our culture. So, and it's not just Black women, of course, but predominantly Black women that's being sold off into human trafficking. So I wanted to bring some light to it and tell a story for one, and show where we come from, where we are now, and see how we can advance as a people.
That's great. So what are some of the shocking truths that we'll find? What are some similarities? What are the differences that we'll find the 1800s versus the 2020s? Like, how did you come up with what to say, how to present it? Tell us about that part.
So the shocking truth is that back then you had slaves that were murdered, and it was against the law for them to know how to read and write. But today, you know, of course, we're free to do it, but you can't pay our youth to pick up a book. The internet has their attention. And everything that we learn, even the way we parent now, is based off the internet. And I think we went from family morals and integrity to just completely pushing it out the window. And if you look at how the culture is today, as opposed to back then, it's sad to say back then we were more of a family, we were more jammed. Although we were being, you know, sold and murdered and beat, but we had each other. Today, that don't exist. You know, you have moms that hate their child. You have parents killing their children, actually. You have children killing their parents. And it shows our level of greed. But the sad truth is that it wasn't Black people, it wasn't white people that started slavery, it was Black people. And I confront that, because if we're familiar with the transatlantic slave trade back in the 1400s, that was a real thing. And that's where a lot of this was birthed from, because slavery wasn't meant to dehumanize people. But once we start being sold to the Europeans by our African kings and queens, that's when this part of slavery happened. But there's a lot of truth, and there's a lot of similarities, such as even, again, like I was just talking about with people being enslaved physically and mentally. You know, that's the shift. It's not a physical enslavement no more. Yeah. Some people, they slaves to their phones, slaves to their money, slaves to institutions, you know, slaves to drugs. Like, you're a slave to a lot of different things.
Wow.
But back then we didn't have all that.
Wow. That's powerful, Richard. And I'm so glad that you as a Black man are able to share this, because, you know, we hear a lot of things that are happening with Black men, but to see you bring out the light of being a Black man, it's very empowering. And I'm quite sure you had to do a lot of research, you had to educate yourself personally about, you know, the story that you're telling, and bring together a cast that could have the same passion and vision for what you're doing.
Absolutely. I'm an advocate for real Black history. And even when I was working at CPS, you know, I realized that there was a major need Black men just shown in a different light. You know, when you see Black men now today, you see them either as gangbangers, killers, homosexuals. You know, we don't have that strong Black man presence, you know, anymore. And even back then, although it was things out of our control, we still stood as powerful beings. And we need to get back into who we are, you know, and learn about our power, you know, the power of our tongue, how we can speak things and make things manifest. We need to get back to that, you know, as Black men. So I want to shift the mindset of Black men and help shift the culture by doing my part.
Yeah, and you're definitely doing that. And I see you got some great men that are part of this conversation. Let's talk to them a little bit. Some of the other actors that are in the play 1800s versus 2020. Can you introduce a couple? I see a Demetrius and Demoris.
Oh yeah, we have Demetrius and Demoris. They are the leads. I love these guys like little brothers. They so hilarious, but so creative, so dope, such dope actors. Then we have Eric Epps. I tell people there's two of my favorite actors from Chicago is Eric Epps and Corey Hendricks. These dudes are super dope. I put them up against any actor, including myself. I feel like they're better than me.
Wow.
And no, I'm serious. I told them this in the beginning. I'm humble enough to say that, like, I speak truth and I give honor when it's given. Eric, man, he's been in Chicago Med, big roles in Chicago PD, and just making his name. And remember the name Eric Epps. You will see him real soon all over.
All right, Eric, he done pumped you up, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
He made you bigger than life. He made you bigger than life. So you know, when you talk to us, you got to win us over and tell us about your and tell us about your role in this play 1800s versus 2020. Tell us about your thoughts about it and how you were able to bring your character to life.
Well, my thoughts about it is extremely needed. Richard did a great job of writing and really doing his research to make sure that he presents something that's extremely authentic. You should not leave the same way you came, to be very honest with you. I mean, there's so many teachable moments within this production that it really you should come out with a different mindset. That's why we continue to tell people it's for all ages. I mean, even from the senior level all the way down to the little kids. I mean, because there's something that you can pull from this. The mental enslavement that we have now, like Richard said, in regards to the internet, and just depression is at an all-time high now. And it really is because of the social media aspect of just trying to make sure that we're trying to please everybody else. We're always reflecting and judging where we're at against somebody else's accomplishments. And that becomes very problematic. And that's kind of what Joshua, the role that I play, that's kind of what he deals with. I'm the oldest brother, but I'm living with my little brother and his wife. Okay. So I'm thinking in my mind, I should be here on the totem pole, but I'm all the way at the bottom. My family doesn't think I'm anything. I'm the older brother, but I'm, for the most part, Hezekiah, which you'll talk to one of the twins, he's the person that kind of spearheaded the household. Mom left everything in his name. I'm the oldest, but he left everything in his name. And I struggle with that mentality. I struggle with greed. I struggle with jealousy, and all those things come to a head. And you, the people that get a chance to come see the show, you'll see where it leads us. It's really an emotional roller coaster with Joshua. He has so many different layers with him, man. And it was an absolute pleasure to even be a part of it, though. It's a lot to Josh. It's a lot to Josh.
Okay, cool. So tell me this: how did this play 1800s versus 2020? How did it change you internally? Like, how are you viewing yourself differently in the world that we live in?
I think for the most part, it's just more appreciation. That whole respect your elders thing, it kind of has gone out the window. The more and more that I've gotten older, these kids that come up now, no one really respects the people that were before them. Yeah. And it's amazing how much stuff they've done to pave the way to the point that we can even do what we're doing right now. This is not possible without them. We're sitting here talking and doing this interview. We, as Black people, this is not something that we would have been able to do if it wasn't for our elders and our ancestors before us, because they had a vision and they knew it was bigger than them. They knew the vision to help their grandfather, their grandkids, their great grandkids could get them killed, but it was necessary for the movement. And I mean, it's just a profound, deep appreciation for everything they've done to get us to the point that we're at right now. But we still have so much more to go. And I think with Richard and his team, this is the type of things that helps spearhead that and keep us moving.
That's really good. It sounds like this is the type of play that needs to be in schools where children are. Like bring it to them so that they can experience it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes
actually, I have that in place, Sonya.
You do? Okay.
I have that in place. It's the virtual field trips, and we've been sending it out to schools since 2020. On my website, I understand that SEL is the need for these students. So all my productions is based around social emotional learning. So in 2020, when I first did it, I booked maybe 80 different schools. Most of my support came from schools in California, New York, New Jersey, and then now it's still getting booked. I think so far I have about 40 schools booked for the virtual field trip, where we send a link to them and we have a curriculum that comes with it.
That's
so
great.
it leads for deeper dialogue, and the reviews and the letters that we've been getting from the students has been amazing.
That's
like
incredible.
it provoked great dialogue, and you have students whose grades has went up due to them realizing how much freedom they have and the appreciation that Eric was just talking about. So it's been doing this justice in the schools, and I just plan to get it out even more. It just, these clerks and these principals got to stop playing hardcore, especially if you're a principal and you still have students that's dropping out at a high rate, have students that's being murdered and gang banging, but yet you keep saying you're so busy. What are you busy doing?
Mm-hmm.
You need to find other resources that could potentially help these students, and do some work. So we do have it available for students.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Eric, for sharing. And he said that you won't leave the same. You won't leave the same the way that you came. That was a preaching moment. You won't leave the same the way you came. You won't leave the same the way you came. That was a preaching moment, sir. So I gotta hear what Demetrius and Demoris gonna come with. What y'all gotta say? The twins, the comedians. What's your role in this play? 1800s versus 2020.
Well, I'll definitely say that when Richard first told us about this play, I was definitely intrigued about it. Like the whole idea of it is just, it's crazy, it's cool, and it's like a dope thing to just be a part of. So with my character, like he's very curious. Like he's so curious about the future and trying to figure out like how that happened and why this happened. The things he figures out and learns basically helps him, I'll say, move to a point where he realizes that he's going on a good path. And yeah. All right, so I played 2020 Hezekiah.
Okay.
So my journey is so basically when I'm going through life, I have a situation to where, sorry about that. You got me?
Gotcha. Go ahead.
All right. So I had a situation where my mom, she left everything in my name, as Eric says. So I have to grow up fast. I'm the youngest, but I have to take on this responsibility that I've never took on before. So it's like, I don't know exactly what I'm doing, but I'm trying my best. I'm doing all that I can to make sure that my family is staying afloat. I have a little sister that I gotta look after. I'm been married to my wife for 2 years, and I'm just still figuring all this stuff out. And so as we going through, I don't want to say too much about the show, but as we going through the show, I'm starting to learn things not only about myself, but how should I approach certain situations. Instead of always being like that, the hard parent, I learned how to be a little bit more lenient than how I was. Okay. And also, like personally, from playing Hezekiah, this character has, one, not only made me a better actor, but two, it showed me how to care. I'm not really someone that, I don't want to say I don't care, but like it really showed me how to show it, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I never knew how to show care before, but now I do.
Wow, that's a good thing. And so the two of you guys So who's the one that always cracks the jokes? Cause I see y'all have fun all the time, but this one right here, I just with the hoodie
It's
on.
actually this.
Yeah, really.
With the hoodie on.
Definitely
He's
Demetrius. Yeah.
he's the troublemaker.
Yeah, it's this one
Yeah,
right here.
I'm sorry. I'm actually looking like a slave. I'm in my method acting mode. Looking as
You
authentic
stay
as
in
possible.
character.
Oh, I have
Oh,
to.
okay,
Yes,
cool.
ma'am.
Oh, that's great. So Richard, I know there's other cast members that could not make it. Can you briefly tell us who they are and what their roles will be, and then we'll wrap it up?
Absolutely. So we have Heidi. She plays the role of Amy. I do introduce interracial marriage.
Okay.
That's another big thing we got over. We have Lynette Shakespeare. She's from Chicago PD. She plays the role of Granny, the one that keeps everything in order, but she's a slave. In the
Okay.
1800s. She's now blind, but she has more vision than a
Wow.
person that can actually see.
Mhm.
Extremely prophetic. Her character and her words are so profound. Anytime she opened her mouth, shut up and listen. She represents that granny that we miss today.
Mhm.
We also have the role of Lola, who's the product of my wife being raped in the 1800s. Here it is. I have to look at this child every day that does not belong to me.
Wow.
And Massa won't let this child stay in her house now because she begins to look too much like a nigga. Then you have the role of Philip, where it's Lola's love interest, and it shows how strong and how powerful that love is between that Black man and that Black woman when they just push everything aside and just love beyond boundaries. Today we give love a boundary, and we have to learn how to go beyond that. So they represent that. And then you just have the comedic relief with the Mr. and Mrs. Mabel. They represent the modern day grannies. They try to be hip, extremely funny, charismatic, and they're just they're a breath of fresh air. You're gonna love these characters.
Wow. Well, it sounds like a well-balanced cast. It sounds like it's well thought out, well written, and I'm looking forward to being there one night. I got to decide which night I will make it, but I congratulate you being a brother from the West Side, coming up like
Thank
this,
you.
providing
Thank you.
opportunities for other brothers and other sisters. He's like, West Side? And, educating our people and being a light. It's real important. So give us the dates, the times, and the location so that we can support.
So we open up this Saturday, February 12th. We have multiple shows going 2 p.m., 7 p.m., but we're running every Saturday and Sunday until the end of February, the entire Black History Month.
Right.
You can go to my website, richardgallion.com, or you can call 310-461-8973. Again, that number is 310-461-8973.
All right, sounds perfect. Well, obviously we'll put the information up as well so people can gather it. And maybe if I show up, you can give me a walk-on role.
I will. Don't play with me. So listen, don't play with me. I would throw you in this show right now. I actually have a role I need to cover. It's small.
Oh, God.
I would love to put you in there. Don't play with me. Matter of fact, you are casted.
Oh my God, let me go down. Let me cut this off.
Sonya, listen. I'm serious. Serious face. You are casted. I had a role that I needed. Just the one that graduate the twin. When he finally decided to go to college, he graduated. It's at the end. It's a montage.
Okay. I'm gonna give it some thought. We'll talk afterwards. But no, this is this
When
is
somebody
amazing.
start rocking like this and say, I'm gonna give it some thought, that means they're not gonna do it.
All right, thank you, Eric Epps, for joining
No
me. Thank
problem.
you, Demetrius Demoris, and of course, Richard Gallion. We celebrate you. We salute you. It's going to be great. You're doing God's work. I know that He is pleased with what you're doing. So keep it up, sir. And I'll see you soon. God bless you.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you.